open ball definition. Let S comma D be a metric space. Let's pick point S naught in S and this R in big R. An open ball in this metric space that has center as S naught and has radius as R is denoted by this and is defined as this. That is BRS naught equal to Y subset Y in S such that distance between Y comma S naught is less than R. So this is an open ball. In a case whereby we put less than or equal to, we call it a closed ball. So we define closed ball as follows. So this is our closed ball. So the closed ball is written as this. We put small bar on it. So the difference between closed ball and open ball definition is same definition, but it's just that in open ball you use an open sign here. This is a closed sign, less than or equal to. And sphere as well, they are the same thing, but under sphere we use S to represent it, and here it is equality sign that is there. So this is how we define open ball, closed ball, and a sphere. Now, in metric space, all this open ball, they have different ways they behave in each metric spaces that we have. Now let's consider the following theorem. This is the theorem. An open ball in a usual metric space is an open interval. What this theorem says is that if you have any open ball inside a usual metric space, is an open interval. So let's prove it. So we first need to define our open ball. We know that open ball centered on S naught is this. D of Y comma S naught is less than R for all Y belongs to S. Also, we need to recall that D of S comma Y in a usual metric space is this. So this is a usual metric. So in this case, let's substitute this there. So instead of this, I'll put the usual metric. This should be Y minus S naught is less than R for all Y belongs to S. And in the theory of our, what they call it, inequality, we know that this thing simply means minus R is less than Y minus S naught is less than R. So if you add this to both sides, you are going to have minus R plus S naught is less than Y is less than R plus S naught. So this is what we call, this is an open interval. So it's an open interval, and it completes our proof. So you see that this open ball in this usual metric becomes an open interval. So let's consider another example of how open balls behave in some metric spaces. We have another example here. Let S be equal to a real number, and let this D of S comma Y be equal to this. So describe the following open balls. If you look at this metric, you know this is a discrete matrix that we treated in our metric class. Now, we want to describe the open ball. The first thing is, let us first write out the definition. Y comma S naught is less than R. So for the first one, B of 2 to half. That means our radius is half and our S naught is 2. So our answer here is D of Y comma S naught. Our S naught is 2 and our R is half. Now what we have here is R is less than half, and in discrete metric space we are given that this the metric is either 1 or 0. So if this metric now is less than half and we only have these two, definitely it will be equal to 0. So since this is less than half, so that simply means that this should be equal to 0, because it is less than half, and we have only two things there. So from this place now, and we have said that if under the condition of metric, we said if the metric is equal to 0, then whatever that is there is equal to each other. Therefore, y is equal to 2. So this simply means that this open ball gives ordinary y, which is 2. So this is a singleton set. So that means this open ball in this place is a singleton set. That is the behavior. So let's consider the second one there. Have b of 1 to b2 of 1. So that means our s0 is 1, our r is 2. So we'll put it here. This is equal to y belongs to s such that d of y comma 1 is less than 2. Here now is less than 2, and we have only 1 and 2. If it is less than 2, so we can't know whether it is 1 or 2. So we don't have conclusion. So even if it is 1, so we don't know what will happen there. Since it's a discrete matrix, so we can say that the ball yields the whole space. The whole space R. So that is what the ball yields. It yields the whole space, because I have less than 2. Assuming here now we have equal to 0, so we can quickly get a singleton set here. Y is equal to 2 as our answer. But here we have many numbers that will involve. So in that case, we say that it yields the whole space. So let's consider another example. We have another example here. Let's consider an Euclidean space in Arg2. And let us define this metric as this. This is an Euclidean metric in R square. Let's describe the following balls. The first one, the first thing is, let's write out the formula. B R of S0 is D of y comma S0. This for all y in X. This is less than R. Now, the first one is the open ball. B2 of S0. So this is simply y belongs to S, D of y comma S0. Our y is y, our S0 is 0. So it's less than R. Our R is 2. So if you look at what is here now, what we are going to have will be y belongs to S such that, remember, this thing is square root of sum of n runs from 1 to n, Sn minus yn squared. So this is less than 2. So if you want to fill this thing now, this should be y0 minus S0 is still the same thing because of the square. So this is y1 minus S1. So it's 0 all squared plus y2 minus S2 is still 0. It's less than, if you transfer this one to the other side, we have 2 squared. So what we have is this y1 squared plus y2 squared is less than 4. So which you can simply write as s squared plus y squared is less than 4. So this is what this thing gives is interior of a circle. You see, this is an equation of circle. Interior of a circle of radius 2. So that circle, let me call it is a unit circle. It's a unit circle because it's centered at origin. So it's a unit circle. So if you look at the same thing, this one, B1, I don't want to stress myself further. So let me use S in place of Y1, and let me use Y in place of Y2. So this should be S minus 1, because the center of this one is 1, all square. Y minus 1 all square is less than or equal to, because of this bar, is less than or equal to our R. In this place, the R is 1. So this is a circle, and it represents a circle and the boundary together. It represents the circle and the boundary. Why this one will represent the circle of radius 2 centered at S1. So that is how open bus used to look like when it gets to some metric spaces. So let's consider a theorem. Before we consider the theorem, let's talk about the open set. So let us first give the definition of open set. So we have considered open bus. So let's consider open set in terms of open bus. So we have the definition here. Definition of open set. We say that let S comma D be a metric space, and let A be a subset of S. Let's pick a subset A. Then that subset A is said to be an open set. If you pick an element, if for every S belongs to A, if you pick an element S in A, there exists some open bus such that S belongs to the open bus is a subset of S, is a subset of A. What that definition is talking about is this. Let's say we have set A here. Let's say we have set A, which is a subset of a metric space. So for this set A to be an open set, then there will exist some open bus that whatever that open bus is centered on S naught. That whatever element we pick, this element S that we pick, it will be inside this open bus. Whatever element S that we pick inside this A, whatever element, it will be inside the open bus. Even if there is another open bus, let's say there's another open bus, there's another open bus. Whatever thing we pick, whatever element we pick, must be an element of that open bus. So this sign simply means it's a subset. That is why we are drawing this circle inside this set A. So all these are the open bus. So if you can find the open bus inside this set A, and also if you pick an element inside this set A, all those elements must be inside the open bus. Then if it happens like that, we say that that set is an open set. So let's consider this theorem. So the theorem: an open ball in a metric space is an open set. What this thing is simply means is that if you have an open ball, just like we discussed earlier, all these open balls, they are also open sets. And what that simply means is that if you have an open ball, we can create another open ball here that will still belong to this, such that whatever point we pick in this open ball, it will be inside this place. So that is what we want to show. In this case, in order to prove this theorem, we need two open balls. So the first one is that let's pick let's first consider this open ball, and then let's consider another open ball, this. So the open balls we are considering, it will be that this one will be a subset of this. Our aim is now to show that any point we pick in this place must also belong to this one. So this is what we are trying to show. Let's show it in the diagram. The open ball. So the open ball BR S naught. That is, it has radius R here. Let's say that's radius R. This is my S naught. Now let's pick another open ball inside this place. So this open ball, this one is BR1 and X. So that is centered on X here. So this is R1. So you will agree with me that this R1 here, you know, this is radius. From this place to this place is the radius. You will all agree with me that my R1 will be equal to this big radius, minus the distance between this, minus distance between S and S naught. This can simply be written as d of S comma S naught. So that is R1 is equal to R minus d into S comma S naught. So let's keep it. Now we consider we said we are considering this open ball. So in this case, let S belong to this open ball, as you have seen there. So this implies that by definition of open ball, you know, we normally say that d of S comma S naught is less than R. So that is the definition we normally give for an open ball. Now let us consider this open ball here. So we want to pick y belongs to R S naught. R1x. So our aim is to show that this y that we pick must also be inside this big ball. This big ball here. So we have picked y in this R1. So, you know, definitely this thing will be written, if you have it like this, by definition of open ball, it will be written as y comma S is less than R1. Now, by what we have seen before, what's our R1? This is our R1 here. Our R1 is R minus d of S comma S naught. From this list, let's bring this one. If you connect the like terms, we have this plus d of S comma S naught is less than R. So let's call it equation 2. So we will need this now. You know, our aim is to show that this y that we pick inside this BR1 must also belong to this BR0. So by triangular inequality, but by triangular inequality, we know that d of y comma S naught will be less than or equal to d of y comma x plus d of S comma S naught. Don't forget that in our equation 2, we have the same thing here. D of y comma x plus d of S comma S naught is less than R. So that means this will be less than R. So this implies that d of y comma S naught is less than R. And what does this thing mean? By definition of open ball, this thing simply means this y belongs to open ball BR centered at S naught. So you now see that we let y belongs to this, y also belongs to this, the first ball. This is the big ball, why this BR1 is a small ball. So we have seen that y belongs to BR1S, and this BR1S is a subset of BRS naught. So in that case, we have shown that this open ball is an open set, because that's the definition of open set. This completes the proof. So that is the proof that an open ball in a metric space is an open set. So we'll continue this open ball and open set in our next video. So have a nice day. The open set, let's consider a theorem. So we have the theorem here. Let S comma D be a metric space. So we say that an empty set and the whole set S are open sets. Also, if you have union of open set, then the union is open. And you have finite intersection of open set is also open. So let's prove it. For the first one, we have that phi is an empty set. And you know that for a set to be an open set, any element you pick inside this set, there will exist an open ball there. And since phi is an empty set, so it is automatically open. So that means, what that simply means is that whatever element we are picking is still an empty. So that definitely there will be no any element there. So in that case, it will have an open set. Now, the second one. Okay, before the second one, we still have x there. So if you pick x, any element s belongs to s, there will exist an open ball centered on s such that s belongs to this, and we know that this will always be a subset of x, because s is the whole set. S contains everything we can talk about. So in that case, S is open. S is open as well, because any element you pick inside the S, then they must everything we are pick, all this open board must automatically belong to S, because this is the whole metric space. So definitely it is open. Whatever element you pick, whatever even subset that we pick, they must always be subset of this S. So in that case, S is open. And the third one, the second one, says that union of open set is open. Simply means is that if you have more than one open set, then the union will be open. So in this case, so let us represent A1, A2, A3, and so on, which can be written in a short form like this. Let it represent the collection of all open sets. That is, let this A1 be open set, A2 be open set. So let all this be collection of open sets. So our aim is to show that the union of this will still be an open. Now, since A is open, since each of these is open, so there exists open ball centered on S0 for every S belongs to AI. So which should be written as, since we have said that each of these is open, I wrote it as AI. So this implies that S will belong to BR this. Also, this will be subset of this. Now, if you pick all this now, this one will still belong to the union. You know, if this one, for instance now, let's say we have A to be 1, 2, 3, B to be 4, 5, 6. If I pick 6 belongs to B, B is one set, definitely 6 will still belong to B union A, because it is union. Union is combination of all of them. So if BR belongs to just one of them or all of them, so it will still belong to this BR, will still be subset of the union of all of them together. So, and this thing simply means that X belongs to this union of AI. So since S belongs to the union of AI, you know, by the definition of open set, we say that if you pick an element in this BR, the element must also belong to the set we are talking about, because before it can become an open set. So in that case, therefore, we can say that AUI, this thing simply means A1 union A2, so is an open set. So we have shown there that the union of open set is open. So another one is the finite intersection of the open set. So for the third one, so also let us represent this A1, A2 up to AN. Now here I did not put up to AN, it's to infinity, because it's an arbitrary union, but this one is finite intersection. That is why I stopped this. Let it be collection of Okay, let it be equal to collection of finite open set. That is our aim. Our aim is to show that I runs from 1 to n. I will use n there. AI, sorry. No, here I did not use anything because it's to infinity, but this is finite, so I'll use this. So our aim is to show that the intersection of this finite is an open set. Now, so we can say that since AI is open, so since AI is open, then there exists open balls. Let's say BR1X, such that S belongs to BR1X belongs to AI. Now, since we are dealing with finite sets there, so in that case, let's pick this radius as the minimum of radius 1, radius 2, up to radius n. So this will now imply that S belongs to BRX. This will be a subset of BR this, because we have only picked one of these. And this one will be a subset of AI. So which means I can write it as S belongs to BR this is a subset of AI. So from that place, so since it's a subset, so it will still belongs to the intersection. So if I can still write it like this. It's still the same thing. This is intersection of this is I runs from 1 to n AI. So it will still belongs to intersection, and this simply means that S belongs to this. And since we have picked an element in this open ball, and that same element belongs to this intersection, so therefore this intersection means it's open. So therefore I can conclude that the intersection is open, and that completes the proof. So let's consider another theorem. So we have another interesting theorem now. Let S, D be a metric space, and let A belongs to S. Then we say that A is open if and only if A is the union of open balls. So in order to prove this if and only if, we have to prove it in two ways. So the first one is that we need to show that if A is open, then A must be the union of open balls. That is, we need to first assume, because the question says A is open. The theorem says A is open if and only if A is the union of open ball. So the first thing is that you first assume that A is open. Then you now show that A is the union of open balls. So now we can now say that since we have said A is open, so since A is open, so then for every S belongs to A, there exists an open ball. For every S belongs to this, so there exists an open ball this, such that S belongs to BRIX. So let me say there exists some open balls BRI. So let me pick more than one because of the theory. So, and this one must be a subset of A. So that is by definition of open balls. So from this place, let's take union of both sides. Let's pick union to both sides. Union S belongs to A. It's a subset of union BRIX is the union of A. So from this place, since all these x, I'll put I there now, since we have union, since all this s now belongs to A, so the union of all the x will just be A. So, and since we have union here, since we are this one has become a set, it's no more an ordinary element, so we cannot use belongs to. We are going to use subset, because it's no more, because this is union, so it's no more an element. It has now become a set, so this will become our A. So this is union of S belongs to A, B is a subset of union. If you pack all the A's together, it's still A. So what that this thing simply means is that A is a subset of this, and this is also a subset of A. This will simply means that A is equal to union of open bus. So we have shown that A is open here. If A is open, then A is equal to union of open bus in A. So also, we will now say that conversely, if A is the union of open bus, then A must be open. So that is how to prove if and only if. You have said that A is open, A is the union of open bus. Here, A is the union of open bus, then A must be open. Now, that's what we want to prove. So we start by saying since A is the union of open bus, we have no, since here we assume that A is the union of open bus. So we now start the proof by saying since A is the union of open bus, and since the union of open bus is open, so by the theorem we just proved, remember we proved that union of open bus is also open. So hence we have seen that A is open. So since we have shown before that union of open bus is open, so hence A is open. So let's move to another interesting topic, which is closed set. So we have considered open set, so we now consider closed.